In today's episode, we talk with Julie Peteritas, who is a finalist for the 2025 RISMedia Rookie of the Year program. Julie had 10 transactions in just her first year. Stick around to hear how she went from a long career as a nurse to being an at-home mom to being a real estate professional. Julie's full of great tips and tricks that you're not going to want to miss.
Welcome to Unlocking Real Estate My First Commission, where we dive into real stories, big wins, and early lessons learned from highly successful rookie real estate agents and brokers. This is the series where we explore how real estate transforms lives, one home at a time, by sitting down each week with a new agent or broker who has found incredible success in their first year. Your hosts are instructors and leaders at Colibri Real Estate School, one of the largest real estate educators in the nation, where we focus on helping people like you get started or find continued success in their careers.
Hello, and welcome to Unlocking Real Estate My First Commission. I'm your host, Tina Lapp, Head of Industry Relations and Career Excellence at Colibri Real Estate. I've been in real estate education for over 30 years, helping individuals enter and thrive in their new careers. We are here today with Julie Peteritas. Julie, will you take a moment to introduce yourself, where you live, and what company you're with?
Sure. So, like Tina said, my name is Julie Peteritas. I am from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and I currently work with Berkshire Hathaway.
That's wonderful. And Julie, congratulations. You were a finalist for the RISMedia Rookie of the Year program in 2025. So excited to jump into where this journey started and how you achieved that, because that's amazing, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So what were you doing before you became a real estate agent?
Oh my. So before I became a real estate agent, I actually worked as a registered nurse for a little over 12 years. And so I primarily did dialysis nursing, so working with patients with kidney disease primarily. And as if a full-time job isn't enough, I also worked part-time in nursing homes with elderly residents. And then I decided to start a family. And I was a stay-at-home mom then for 8 years. And now I'm in real estate.
Wow. And so you definitely have the work ethic. Look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. And the kids. So you left nursing to be an at-home mom. I think that's wonderful, because that's more than a full-time job in itself. What inspired you to pursue a career in real estate? How'd you make that decision?
Yeah, so there's honestly a few factors. So I loved nursing. I loved my patients. I loved helping people. It was such a rewarding job.
Mm-hmm.
But being a mom became my number one priority the second my children were born. And so I really wanted something a little bit more flexible, where I wasn't having to punch a time clock, be somewhere at certain hours every day. Mm-hmm. So that was reason number one. Reason number two is I was already kind of dabbling in the real estate world. So me and my husband actually do a lot of investing on our own. So in Lancaster, we have a few multi-units, single family units. We started getting into bigger projects where we're partners on bigger apartment complexes. And then we were also doing syndications. So I was like, okay, I kind of know real estate. Why not? And then the thing that really pushed me over the edge was we had a friend who came to my husband and I and was like, hey, I want to buy this 10-acre parcel of land and I want to build on it. Do you want to partner with me? And we were like, yes, let's do it. We'd never done this before. It sounds great. And I was like, well, I kind of already know real estate. I was looking for a job outside of the home now, something that's a little more flexible. And I'm like, why do we want to pay somebody else to sell these other units if I could do it? And so those were the three main factors that really pushed me to go and get my real estate license.
Yes. And the timing, the kids were maybe a little older, the timing seemed good. And that's great. So you probably went in knowing a little bit more than several people know entering real estate. Yeah, which is super helpful. So can you walk me through the process of getting your real estate license?
Yeah, so again, I decided to get my real estate license when my youngest was in kindergarten. So all of my kids were out of the home, which was perfect timing. And so I honestly didn't know where to start when getting my real estate license. So I actually had a girlfriend who lived in Baltimore and she was a realtor, and then she moved to Florida. And so she had gotten her license like twice. So I called her up and I was like, hey, look, like I'm thinking about getting my license. Can you talk me through the process? What program you use? How did you do it? And so I really talked to her, and that really pushed me on like the steps that I took. And so because I'm a mom, I wanted to still be able to like be with my kids during the day, like after they're home from school. So I decided to do online classes. And so my friend used the CE shop and she had rating reviews about it. And I was like, sold. So I used the CE shop to get my license. And it was honestly super easy. You know, you log in, you create your account, and then you sign up for the classes. And online, it's a 75-hour like course pretty much. So you have to put in 75 hours of this coursework. And like Tina, I dove in head first. I was like, I want to do it, get it done. So I did my 70 hours in a little less than 2 weeks. I did it while the boys were at school. I'd get them to bed. I'd be right back on my computer doing those hours, like getting it done. And then the great thing about the CE shop is like they don't just like stop with the courses. They then offer like an exam prep course. And I was like, yes, I need it. Like I'm a terrible test taker. Like I need the prep. So then I signed up to do the prep course, and that was phenomenal. It basically like they gave you study guides, and then it was basically like each section was broken down into like subsections, and then it would ask you like test questions. So it kind of prepped you for the test, which was great. And so I just kept going into that every single day until I got about 80% on all of my tests consistently. Because then I'm like, okay. And they say if you get about 70%, you'll be fine on the test. And I'm like, I want to do better. And so I was like, 80% is my benchmark. And then once I was consistently doing 80% or better on all of the tests, I was like, all right, it's go time. Like I'm going to sign up to take my test. And with the testing, you can either do it online or you can do it in person. And I was like, in person. I want to do it in person. And I got online and I looked, and unfortunately, like my local testing centers didn't have anything soon. It was like a 3 to 4 week wait to take my test. And I was like, no, like I can't wait that long. Like everything is fresh in my mind.
Right.
I want to do it. And so I signed up to do it online, and it was great. It was nerve-wracking, but you know, typical mom life. I signed up to take it and my kids had a snow day. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I remember they're so strict when you're taking the test. They're like, you can't look away from the computer, like nothing. And so I'm like locked in doing this, and I'm like locked in a room, and I hear like a knocking at the door, and I'm like, oh no. And it's my little like 6-year-old at the time. And he's like screaming in the background, Mom, I have to poop. I have to poop. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like worst timing. And the moderator is like, no looking away from your computer. And I'm like, oh gosh. So yeah, it's just, you know, life throws curveballs, but I rolled with it. It was fine. But yeah, so I ended up doing my state test one day, and then the national test the next day. Passed both on the first try, which was great. And then I was golden. So
Wow, what a whirlwind. And you like the flexibility was there for you. You had the time to work on it while the kids were at school or at night, which getting through in 2 weeks, amazing. And I love how you thought about getting to the test as quickly as possible. It does make a difference. Like it's fresh on your mind, get to the test. So now you have a real estate license. What were your expectations going into your first year?
Oh man. So I really try to keep my expectations like super simple because I didn't really know what to expect. Like, yes, I had a little background in real estate, but like nothing like this. And so my expectations were really simple. I knew I wanted to learn as much as I could in my first year. I also wanted to build lasting, strong relationships. And I wanted to start to like create this like really solid foundation for my business. And those all sound like easy tasks, but in the grand scheme of life, it's not. So like I knew it was going to be hard and challenging, and I needed to like have patience and be persistent. And like, you know, the hope is always like, oh, to help a couple like clients find like their the home that they love, get a few clients like under my belt to just gain that like real world experience. And so expectations, again, just like super simple, kind of just going with the flow, seeing where it took me.
Okay. And so how long after you were licensed did you close your first transaction?
So I was
Took a while.
licensed March 4th, and my first settlement day was June 28th. And you will always remember your first settlement.
Right.
And so my company provides like 3 months of training for you, which is great. And then they also provide you with a coach. And so my first clients were actually like acquaintances of ours, which was like perfect, right? Like, working with somebody you know. And so, but like the nerves are high and like you want to do a good job. And I remember at like the settlement table, like everything went super smooth. And then I like walked out of settlement with my clients. And the woman at like the front desk at my office was like, "Congratulations on your first settlement, Julie." And my clients looked at me who were like friends and they were like, "This is your first, like, we're your first clients?" And I was like, "Surprise." Like, yep.
Yeah.
And they're like, "That's awesome. Like, we're so honored." They're like, "You did such a great job." So like, yeah, it was a really good first experience. And if you're new in the business, you will always remember your first
Yeah.
settlement.
Well, and the fact that they didn't know that you were newer to the industry and this was your first, like, speaks volumes to how you handled the transaction. And I know for our listeners, there are a lot of people that are thinking about a career in real estate, and that's always a concern to them. Like, how do I establish credibility? Do I have to worry about that? And it sounds like you didn't even mention you were brand new. You just jumped right in and did what you can. So, um,
Yeah,
that's
if I
great.
don't have to, I typically like don't broadcast. Like in the
Yeah.
beginning, I'm not like, "Oh, I'm a new agent."
Yeah.
Because most times people don't know. And if you just do what you can
Mhm.
do and you have supportive people around you, like most clients aren't going to know. So,
Yeah. And so it's less about establishing credibility early on and more just about the people and the relationships and the service that you're providing to them. It sounds like that you were able to
100%.
do. Okay. That's wonderful. And so what how did you find clients at the beginning? You said these were acquaintances. Like, how'd you reach out? How'd you get the word out there?
Yeah, so it took me, it takes time to establish yourself as a realtor. Like I'm a little more than a year in and I'm still working on establishing myself. But when I first got my license, I made a plan for myself. And so I did like three main things to kind of just like spread the word. So the first thing I did was I hand wrote cards to all of my friends and to all of my neighbors in my neighborhood. I think I wrote, it was like over 200 handwritten notes. It took a while. Um,
Wow.
and I
Yeah.
just like let them know, like, hey, like, I made it like personalized to them. And I was just like, hey, just wanted to like let you know I'm now a real estate agent. Like, if you ever need any help, like, I'd love for you to consider me. And I threw in more than one business card. I think I put in like 3 or 4 in each card because then I was like, hey, and if you know anybody, like spread the word, like help me out. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that was the first thing I did. And then social media, social media is huge in today's day and age. And so I made it a point to like almost every day post something about me doing real estate, whether it was like, and again, I wasn't working with a lot of clients. So like maybe like once I did have clients, it was like me showing a house or like whatever. But like before I even had clients, it was like me walking into the office, me like a picture of like me handwriting those notes. I would sometimes post like market statistics, but just something sprinkled in every day or like at least like 4 or 5 times a week. So people really saw that like, okay, she's really doing this. Like she is an agent. She is motivated. She is wanting to like be successful.
Yeah.
So that was like the second big thing that I did. And then the third thing that I did was I started to farm a neighborhood. I had heard a lot about farming neighborhoods and I was like, I don't know. But then I started to think about it and I'm like, okay, so I'm reaching like my sphere of influence from sending out those letters and from posting on social media. But I'm like, but I want to reach more than that. And so I was like, okay, like let's farm. So, I found a neighborhood and then I started farming this development by sending them mail once a month. And like that's how I basically started my marketing. And then it's like kind of grown from there. But those were like the 3 action steps that like from the very beginning, I was like, this is how I want to start and then expand on that.
That's great. And I know our listeners appreciate you walking through that. So were any one of those particularly successful, or were they kind of equally successful?
Social media. I mean, you can just
Yeah.
reach so many more people from social media. And I wouldn't say that it necessarily got me clients, but it started conversations. And so like I have now had deals where it's like somebody who saw my story was like, shared my contact with their friend, and then their friend reached out to me. So it's just like the people might not be like looking for a house or wanting to move, but it's all about the people that your people know and those people know and just like spreading the word. So social media, again, was like super key. And like my friends and family, just I feel like they're like your biggest fans and your biggest cheerleaders. So they're going to share it with their people too. So
Yeah, love that. And so when you talk a little bit more about social media, because that's been so highly successful for you, were you working in like specific channels or like apps? And did you sort of match your personal social media posts with the real estate posts? Like talk through that a little bit more.
yeah, so I know that this is like it's a big debate whether you make a business profile for your real estate or like have a combined business and personal. I chose to have a combined business and personal. I'm a busy woman. I have 2 kids. I'm like, I can't manage multiple accounts. Like I just know myself, I won't do it. And so I mostly use Instagram as a way of just posting things. I mostly post in my stories just because it's easier. It's what I have time for.
Yeah.
So that's the main platform I use. I did like do a big announcement on like Facebook, like I'm a realtor, like surprise. So like Facebook and Instagram for sure were my main platforms. I'm not on TikTok. I know a lot of people have great success on TikTok and even YouTube, and I'm not, full transparency, I'm not super tech savvy. So like Instagram is about as like technical as I can get.
Yeah. Again, it's good to hear because you don't have to be tech savvy, but posting on Instagram, using Facebook a little bit has worked for you. And from someone who's not tech savvy and it's working, it's a great lesson. Did you
Yeah.
get involved in open houses at all?
So
Yeah,
yes.
not everyone does. Yeah.
Yeah, like I have this love-hate relationship with open houses. I feel like in certain markets, they are phenomenal. So in Lancaster County, we are very much, ever since I became a realtor, we're very much in a seller's market. Things are shifting a little bit,
Yeah.
but very much a seller's market. So in the beginning, I would say for the first 6 months, I was consistently doing open houses like every weekend. And honestly, Tina, like I never picked up a client from it, and I never sold the house. So I will say though, again, I think it's really dependent on the market you're in, because
Yeah, sure.
when you're in a seller's market here, the buyers are coming prepared because homes were hitting the market and off within like 48 hours. And so buyers knew that, and they were like, okay, well, I need to be pre-approved. I need to have an agent. Like I need to be ready to go. And so in our market, like all of the buyers that were coming through were represented, which is great. I'm happy for them. But like
Yeah.
for me, I'm like, no. And so, yeah, like I do think that there's a great time and place for open houses for sure. And I really think it's dependent on the market. Now, I will say open houses were great for marketing, right? So even though I didn't get clients from the open houses, I was able to post about it. And so like And I was like doing like videos of me like putting the sign out, hanging up balloons, like video walkthroughs of the house. And like, again, it like reached other people and they saw that I was doing the work. They saw that I was like excited about it and like doing things. And so that brings in clients too. It's not always finding the clients at the open house. It's kind of how the open house can bring you more clients in other avenues. So like, I do think open houses are great in that aspect. And again, I think if you are in a different market than we're in here, they could be like phenomenal. It's a little bit different here right now.
Yeah. And like you said, it got you great client or great content for your social media, which, which is a highly successful avenue for you. So what were some of the biggest challenges your first year?
Oh my. Time management, 100%.
I hear that a lot.
Yeah. So again, I have a husband. I have 2 younger kids. They're 9 and 7. And so the first year it was hard. I'm not going to lie, like trying to finagle time with like my family and then trying to figure out like, when can I squeeze work in? When can I do showings? When can I do these open houses? It was a lot. And so time management became like, after like the first like 3 months, I was like, I can't keep doing what I'm doing. I need to figure something out. And so my Google Calendar became my best friend. I sat down one day and I was like, I need to time block. Like, I heard my managers talking about it. They're like, time block, time block, time block. And I'm like, nah, I don't need that. And then I was like, okay, I need to time block. And so I went into my Google Calendar one day and I just started time blocking out my day. So like, once my kids got off to school, I was like, I'm going to take 20 minutes to be on the MLS looking at what's out there. And then I'm going to spend 45 minutes doing follow-up with clients. And then like, I literally laid out all of my days and there was like non-negotiables every day, like looking on the MLS, reaching out to those clients and really establishing a routine. And then that translated into better time management for me because I knew how my day was going to be, like what my day was going to be like. And I was able to work it around my kids. Now, showings are obviously their own little beast, right? Like clients want to see a house when they want to see it, which is fine. But I also am like, okay, well, I have kids that get home at 2:30. You want to go see a house at 4? That gets a little tricky. And so I found sitters to watch my children. And so now I really try to schedule showings around when I have childcare. And honestly, that's been a game changer too. Because before I was just trying to make everything work. Like if somebody wants to go see like a house, I would jump. And I'm like, but this is really not conducive for my current lifestyle and my family. And it wasn't working and it was very stressful. And so again, like that time management was huge, just figuring out what I could do when I could do it. The other thing that I would say that was a big challenge was money management. So when you get into real estate, you don't have, I would say most realtors, when they first start out, they don't have a ton of clients, right? And so you have to market and not all marketing is free. So like even sending mailers, Tina, gets expensive because you're paying for postage. And if like you're printing things off, like it all costs money. And so I was like, okay, I see all these dollars flying out the window. No dollars are coming in. Let's figure this out. And so I started making a quarterly budget. And now I plan all of my marketing to meet that quarterly budget that I set. So I figure out my marketing per quarter, get it all figured out, priced out, and then I kind of go from there. So that's been huge for me. And then another really big challenge, which I think a lot of realtors can appreciate, are looky-loos, where you have these clients. So I should mention, I partner with Zillow. So I'm a Zillow Premier agent. So I basically pay into Zillow and they like feed you some leads. And so with that, it's great. It's been a great source of clients for me. It's not cheap. And like what comes with that though is looky-loos. And it's the same with like, sometimes you'll get a call or like I'll get a message on social media like, oh, hey, like I want to go see this house. I'm like, okay, great. Like, let's do it. But I've quickly realized that lots of people just like to look at homes. Like me, I love getting inside. I like seeing these other cool homes. And so I really had to start like being conscious of who I was working with. And so, because before I was just showing homes, and showing homes. Well, now, it's great. They make us have touring agreements signed beforehand, which has been a game changer for sure. Because now I'm like, oh, okay, like you want to go see this house? That's phenomenal. Like I'd love to show you, but I need you to sign this touring agreement first. And as soon as people see that they have to like actually like sign something, they're like, oh, never mind. Like I was just kind of curious about the house. And so now I have like strict rules, like you have to sign this touring agreement before I show you a house. And I will only show somebody one home before they get pre-approved. So it's like, if you want to continue to see homes, you need to get pre-approved because again, like my time is valuable. And so like looky-loos were tricky for sure. Because in the beginning, I'm like, I just want to show homes, get in front of as many people as I can. And it was not good for my time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, real challenges, but you figured them out and it's made such a big difference on your business. And now you could spend the time on what likely will help bring in money. Because like you said, it costs some money here. But the reward is tremendous when you get it. So did you have a mentor or a support system that helped you through your first year? I know a lot of people are like, what if I don't know? What if I have a question? Like, how'd you navigate that? Did you have some folks you could lean on?
Yeah, I 100% did. Number one, just like my husband, he obviously was there to like pick up the slack with the house, with the kids. And my husband's crazy smart. Like he was just like a wealth of knowledge when it came to real estate in general. So he was like my number one support system. My managers and coworkers were phenomenal. When I first started, my managers were like, show up to the office, like come to the office as you can. And I was like, do I really have to go sit at the office? I encourage all new realtors, go sit at your office, like meet your coworkers, talk to your coworkers. It changed my real estate world. Like it was so beneficial to like bounce ideas off of them, hear what they're doing for marketing. Like it's fun to like share stories with each other, like your horror stories, your wins, like your challenges and how they overcame them or like how they're celebrating. Like it was huge. And so, yeah, like managers were always there. If I had a question, I knew I could pick up the phone and call them. Coworkers were phenomenal. I would say those were like my three big support systems throughout. Like, I mean, even now, like I'm still like, I still have questions. Like every transaction is so different. And it's so great having people in your corner that, you can go to when you need them.
And I hear it from agents that have been in the business more than 10 years. Like I still need a support system. Every transaction's different. Like I always need somebody to bounce it off of. So it's so valuable. So you're going through your first year, you're learning a lot, you're picking up clients, you're doing your social media. Is there anything that from your first year and experience that stands out that was funny or memorable, that maybe you did something wrong or that you learned a lesson from or anything like that that stands out from your first year?
Oh man, there's so many things.
Right.
Where to start? So funny thing, and it still follows me. I feel like for some random reason, I tend to like attract all of the animals at showings. And it's so bizarre. Ever since like day one, I have the most weird animal encounters at showings. Like cats jumping on my shoulder. I went into an attic in like this old like garage and it was like crazy bats flying all around. A recent showing I was doing with a client, we were walking around the yard and I like look over and like 10 feet away is like a skunk. And I'm like, what? I'm like, we're going to get sprayed. And this skunk, Tina, no lie, followed us around like this 1 acre perimeter. It was like a little pet following us around. So like, I always have like these weird animal stories when I get home from showings and my kids love to hear about it. My husband's always like, all right, what animal encounter did you have today? So yeah, so I feel like I attract like weird wild animals for whatever reason. And then like memorable, I will say they're like this one client I worked with, I will always forever remember them. So they were having a really hard time getting anybody to work with them. So they had gotten pre-approved with the VA and they were pre-approved for $70,000. In our market, it's really hard to find a home for $70,000 or less. And they did not want a mobile home. And plus, with VA, like a mobile home's a whole different beast, right? With lending. And so they had tried working, they said, with 6 other realtors, and all of the other realtors dropped them because their budget was low and they could not find them anything. And so I got to talking. I called around to all of my lenders that I use, and I was like, these people, they need help. Can you help them? And I finally got them in touch with a lender that was able to pre-approve them for $260,000. And so I was able to get them a house. And Tina, I remember when I got the call that we won the bid on the house, I called these clients and they it makes me want to cry today still. They were so excited. They were sobbing on the phone. They were screaming in the background, crying. They were so happy, so thankful. And then at the settlement table, I remember there was 3 of them. It was a mom, a dad, and their daughter. They all came up, gave me a big hug, and we all just cried together. They were just so happy and thankful. And that is just something I will take with me forever, because it was just the sweetest thing. And I was just so thankful I was able to help them.
Oh my gosh. I literally have goosebumps right now. I that's what it's all about, right? It's the people, and you made their American dream come true, right? And went out of your way when other people wouldn't. And that's tremendous. So how do you keep relationships with your clients going, right? You love the referrals. Are you getting a lot of referrals, and how do you do that?
Yeah, so I feel like now that I'm a year in, a little more than a year in, I am starting to get referrals, which is great. As far as relationship building, for me, I think it's really important to build those relationships early on. So when I first meet a client, I listen. I like to get to know my clients. I ask questions. And I feel like it's the little things. So just having those conversations with them at showings, learning I know I had clients who were we were talking and they're oh, we're going to Hershey Park this weekend. And then later the next week I followed up and was hey, I hope you had a blast at Hershey Park. Can't wait to hear about it. Looking forward to seeing you at X, Y, and Z house on this date. And they were just oh, I can't believe you remembered we went to Hershey Park. Thanks so much for asking. It was great. Remembering the little things and not always making your interactions always be about real estate, because they want to know that you care about them outside of making money. And I feel that's huge. Building those.
It's huge.
Yes, it's a working relationship, but also on this building a friendship and building that rapport with your clients is really big. I also, even after the transaction, so after we settle, I always like to reach out to my buyer clients, and seller clients, once a month, hey, just wanted to check in, hope all's going well. And some people I'll follow on social media, or they follow me. So I'll see them doing home projects and I'll be oh my gosh, I saw you did a new garden. It looks great. Or, oh, you're cutting trees down. You just, I try to continue to stay in touch with them. So it doesn't seem like it was all just this working transaction, right? And then I always do pop buys for my clients, where I'm dropping little things at their door every couple months to stay in touch, because again, that's where referrals will come back to you, because they'll be oh, she still cares about me even after getting that paycheck. And then I always send 1-year home anniversary cards in the mail to my clients. And the first year that my clients purchase a home, that Christmas or Hanukkah, that holiday, I always like to send them a little gift in the mail too.
Wow. And this kind of ties into what you were talking about earlier with your time blocking and your planning and your budgeting. You're very thoughtful and organized. It sounds like it anyway, but it may not feel that way. It may not feel like it all the time. So now that you've got a year and a half under your belt, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That's a great question. I think about it. I try to take it like day by day, but like in 5 years,
Yeah.
like a lot can happen, right? And
Oh my
so
gosh, yes.
like I think I told you we have this development project happening where we'll be building like around 80 homes. And so I'm like, okay, in 5 years, hopefully that will be built and sold. And that's going to be
Yeah.
huge for my business. And so I'm
Yeah.
like, I really hope in 5 years I will have just like grown my business exponentially and really made a name for myself, not just in real estate, but like in the community. Like I'm very involved in our community. That's another thing I highly recommend new realtors do. Become known in your community. Like get involved in community action groups or like I'm part of a women's group here in Lancaster County.
Great.
I help support a nonprofit. I do some work with like refugees in the area. It's so important to stay connected in your community because people in your community see that, they respect it, and then they're going to want to come back and use you when they need to buy a home. And so, yeah, like I really think it's important to get involved in your community. Um, and so in 5 years, like, yeah, I just hope that the community like knows me, recognizes me, and that like my business has just kind of become like this nice, sustainable little like bubble business that I have where like I can continue to grow and just become like successful and have this like steady business.
And I'm sure the development project will help. And I think that's great and great advice on the community involvement for sure. Any additional tips or tricks that you would like to share with aspiring real estate professionals?
It sounds like super cliche, but like keep going. Like the first year, I'm not trying to scare anybody away because real estate is phenomenal. The first year is hard. It can be really hard and it's time consuming. You have to hustle. Like you will learn that the time you put in truly shows like what you get out of this business. So like there's going to be times in your business like where you're slow, but if you spend those slow seasons doing your marketing, doing the work, the busy periods are on the next side. So like just remember the work you're putting in today, you're going to see the reward a couple months from now probably. So like please don't give up. Um and just be true to yourself. I think it's so
Yeah.
important to just be you at showings and like just with your normal interactions with your clients. Like I just I'm kind of like quirky, bubbly, and I remember at a showing I was doing with a client, it was on a 3-acre lot of land and we were like walking this land and there was wild raspberries growing. And I was like, oh, there's like berries. I'm like, let's pick some. Let's have a quick little bite while we're like doing this showing in the woods. And so I remember like my clients looking at me like, is this chick serious right now? And I'm like, here, have some berries. And like it it sounds so silly, but like he was like, you could tell he was like nervous, a little uptight. And then he ate those berries and like saw that I was like a normal human being and he like loosened up. He became like who he truly was. And so I think it's really important be comfortable in your own skin and present that to your clients because they're going to feel that and then they're going to be more comfortable with you and they're going to be like their truer self. And I just really think that like showing your true colors and your personality is just like really important and it sets you apart in this business.
And I can see it. I can absolutely see it in you. Great, great advice. Julie, we're going to jump into our lightning round. And these are just kind of fun questions. Don't have to be real estate related answers, but just along those lines of being you, let's learn a little bit more about you. So, is there, yeah, this is fun. So, is there a book or a podcast that you've read or listened to that you'd recommend to the listeners?
So I'm a huge reader, like read nonstop, listen to audiobooks, all of the things, but I prefer fiction books. So I
Okay.
don't have like a good like real estate book recommendation or podcast. A book that I think everybody should read. It's called The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer. And it's kind of like a this day and age, it reminded me of like a this day and age, like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And I think it's just like, again, it's like this fun, quirky book about having fun in life and like being open to the adventure. And I think as adults, I feel like we lose a lot of that and we become so like serious and like uptight. And like this book just talks about like
Yeah.
embracing your childhood, like joy and like just rolling with it and still being open to new adventures. So love that book. Highly recommend it. It's great if you listen to it too.
I wrote it down, so I could use that.
I
That
hope
sounds
you
so
like it.
fun, right? Yes. Okay. I'm gonna check it out for sure. If we had a time machine and you could go back to the day you started this journey, what advice might you give yourself, or what might you do differently?
Honestly, it all comes back to like that time management. And I would tell myself to set time restraints. So it sounds so silly, but in my first couple months of real estate, I was working from like 8 a.m. and I'm like writing offers at like 10:30 at night. And I'm like, Julie, what are you doing? Like nobody's looking at an offer at 10:30 at night. Like everybody's in bed. Like I would tell myself to set boundaries for sure because
Yeah.
it it would have helped with my mental sanity so much in the beginning and just like lowered my stress level so much.
Yeah, that's great advice. And it works both ways. And I think it's making sure you're disciplined and putting the time in, but also protecting your personal life and giving yourself your fun and your family and
Yes.
your friend time and all of that, because it keeps us balanced, right?
Yeah, I
For
remember
sure.
one year I'm at Knoebels which is an amusement park with friends, and I have somebody who's like calling wanting to write an offer, and I'm trying to like write this offer as I'm like in line for roller coasters, and I'm like, Julie, what are you doing? Like this can
It's
wait. So like take time for yourself. Still have fun in life. Like real estate can wait a couple
love
hours,
that.
right? Like that deal's not going to be dead just because you need an hour or two to do what you're doing.
Yeah. I love that. If you could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, who might it be and why?
Oh man. The sentimental side of me, my mom's grandfather passed away before I was born, and I always hear so much about him. So like the sentimental side of me is like, oh, I would love to have dinner with him just to get to know him as like a person because I never met him. And then the nerdy side of me is like Stephen Hawkins. Like his mind just blows my mind. And I'm like, I just feel like sitting down with him would just be like incredible. Like his genius mind is just, it's insane. And I just think sitting down and talking with him would be so interesting.
Oh my gosh. Maybe you could all go together to dinner. Wouldn't that be fun?
That'd be
That
great.
would be an experience, right? So, what'd you do at work yesterday? Describe it. Your day.
Oh, yesterday was actually a really good work day. So I actually met with a client who's actually my neighbor who wants to sell land. So him and I took a little ride out to his 7.5-acre piece of land and we walked it. And then I came home from that and I looked at comps. So sent him the comps for that. I do a monthly newsletter. So I worked on my October newsletter, just trying to stay ahead of the game, right? um, and then I actually had a showing in the evening for clients. So I took them to the showing. And then afterwards, we had a phone call about like strategy. And then every night before bed, I always just like to look on the MLS to see what has popped up throughout the day.
Okay, that sounds like a really good day. Any animal encounters?
No. Well, that's not true. We did see a deer and
Oh,
a like this giant hornet like flew down my shirt, and so it like a sweatshirt. So I'm like taking off my sweatshirt as we're like in the woods. But nothing like a skunk or anything super crazy. Just like a little insect
well,
encounter there.
but to your point from earlier, there was something. There was
There
something.
always,
So
always, Tina.
always, that's crazy. That's crazy. Julie, where can listeners and viewers find you, connect with you, and follow your journey?
Yeah, so Instagram is like my main platform again. My handle's my name, so it's Julie Z Peteritas. So yeah, you can follow along there. It's a joint account, so you're going to learn a little bit about my personal life and a lot about my business life, and I'd love for you to join along.
That's perfect. Julie, you have been great. Congratulations on your first year success. I have no doubt that you're going to reach greater success in 5 years and beyond. Congratulations on being
Thank
a
you.
finalist for the RISMedia Rookie of the Year program as well. I appreciate you sharing your story and the advice that you've given. I think it's so valuable. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in to Unlocking Real Estate, My First Commission. We hope today's stories and insights inspired you to take that next step in your real estate journey. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode, or head over to our channel to see some of the other content we've produced. We'd also love to hear from you. Drop a comment below with your biggest takeaway or a question for our next guest. If you have a recommendation for someone we should interview, please send a note to unlockingrealestate@colibrirealestate.com.